Good afternoon, everybody. This is David Zvislin, the CAD manager here at Nolte Associates, and I'd like to welcome you to the AutoCAD 2009 training webinar on the Civil 3D PDF extension. I've planned to go for an hour today, but I don't think this presentation takes that long, so that should allow us to have a little bit of a question and answer at the end of this session. So what we'll do is at that point, I will have you guys raise your hands and I can unmute your microphones and let you guys ask your questions. With that said, I'm going to start off onto my presentation now and talking about the Civil 3D PDF extension, and just want to focus on the word Civil 3D here. And in Catapult, you do need to select the AutoCAD Civil 3D 2009 AutoCAD version, and it'll work with any of the profiles in that version, but you have to use the Civil 3D application. It will not work in the Land Desktop 2009. For those of you who are not using Civil 3D, not a deal killer, because you can still do all of your AutoCAD commands. You can do your XRES, your layers, your line work, your text. You can open up Land Desktop drawings. But we need to use the Civil 3D 2009 program in order for this to work. All right, let me jump around a little bit here. If you'd like to follow along with the handouts, or if you need to refresh your memory on this stuff, if you go to the CAD support site and you ask the question about the PDF extension and you search on that, you will get this option here to bring up the 2009 upgrade training PDF extension, and this has all the information about everything I'll be talking about today. So it just allows you to go back and review, especially some of the commands that we're going to see in the second half of this presentation, talking about the underlay options with all the different PDF commands, so you don't have to rush to write all of this down. All right, I'm going to do two parts of this presentation. We're going to look first at plotting to PDF. There's actually a new PC3 file and driver that came with this extension that allows you to plot to PDFs. And then probably the most important part, I think what everybody's really interested in seeing, is the PDF underlay, or the referencing of PDFs will be the second half. All right, to plot to PDF, when you're in the plot dialog, what you'll see is a PC3 file called the DWG to PDF bonus pack. Now there is another DWG to PDF PC3 file, and that's the default PC3 file that we had in AutoCAD or Land Desktop 2009, and I think we also had a similar one in our 2007 products. This is a new driver that came with this bonus pack, and what I'll do is just kind of highlight a few of its unique features, and then I'll do a little demo on actually using that. All right, a couple of things that this driver adds that you don't have in the previous versions is we do have an option for merge control. So you can tell it to merge lines, so we'll be able to merge our existing screened line work with our solid proposed line work, and you won't have that problem where the existing line work breaks up the proposed line. So that's kind of a nice feature, and that's missing in some of the other PDF drivers that we have. We also have an output properties option where we can control, among other things, we can control the resolution of the PDF file, which will then also control the file size. And the options there, and we'll take a look at this when I do the demo portion. Really what rule of thumb that you want to use here is you want to set the resolutions to the same DPI value of the output device that these PDFs will eventually be plotted on. So if I know I'm going to go to one of our DesignJet plotters in draft mode or normal mode, those typically are plotting at about 600 DPI. So really it doesn't do you any good to set these at higher resolutions. The only time you'd want to go to the higher resolution is if the PDF file is for viewing and you have a very high level of detail, maybe like a real large topo map with real dense contours and a lot of information. At that point you may want to go to some of the higher resolutions. In terms of file size, I did plot my file that I'm going to show you today at various resolutions. I went from 150 dpi all the way up to the max, which is 4,800 dots per inch. And you'll see as a line work drawing, it's not a real complex file, so my file size went from about 200K to 300K, so it's about 50% larger. So if you're looking at a 2 meg file, or possibly up to 3 or 4 meg, and that's going to vary depending on whether or not you're plotting with raster, what the original resolution of your raster image is. So just different things to keep in mind. Obviously, if you're going to be emailing these to people, then you want to go with a slightly lower resolution to help with that. Other items of note on the properties here when we set up the plotter is we can also include layer information now in a PDF file. And this is real neat because in the Adobe Viewer, you can actually bring up a tab showing all the layers, and you can turn on and off layers. And then we'll also see that later on when we do the PDF underlay. We'll be able to manipulate layers and what you see in that PDF file. So pretty neat stuff with that. All right, and the last item we'll look at with the plotting to PDF is with the publish command. This driver will let you create a multi-sheet PDF, and I don't think the earlier versions of the AutoCAD's PDF driver would allow you to do this, which is why we have programs like AcroPlot and a couple other tools to allow us to assemble these multi-sheet PDF files. So we'll take a look at that also in my presentation. All right, so moving along, let me jump over demonstration mode here and find my AutoCAD. All right, so again, I am running in the Civil 3D 2009 application. I'm not going to show you any Civil 3D commands in this presentation today. We're purely going to be looking at the PDF extension here. All right, so I'm going to start off. I've got a layout already set up with my map showing my overall site plan. I've got some utility and contour information here, and I need to share that with somebody. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to run my plot command. Okay, and I've already got this set up so I don't have to go picking too much here, but again, from our list of available PC3 files, you want to select the DWG to PDF bonus pack. All right, and then let's take a look at the properties. So this is where we can get in and modify some of the settings of how we want this PDF file to behave. And we'll start under graphics here, and I'll pick on merge control, and this is where I can tell it, well, I'd like the lines to merge. So I want my existing line work to merge with my proposed line work. Okay. Problem for Civil 3D users is we'll see here is that Civil 3D uses wipeouts to hide contour lines behind contour labels. With this turned on, what we're going to see is my contours are going to draw through my my labels if I have any labeled contours. So for Civil 3D, you will want to use the lines overwrite, and that will require you then in your drawing file to use display order or draw order to control which line work is on top and which line work's in the background. So you'd want to move all your existing to the bottom of the display order. All right, so but I'll go ahead and for now turn this on just so we can see how that behaves. And then the other thing I'm going to look at here is the custom properties option. So let's pick on the custom properties button, and that brings up the dialog. These are the default values for the properties. All the resolutions will be set to 400 dpi, but I can increase or decrease this depending on what my needs are going to be. For today, I'm going to go ahead and just leave them at 400. Vector resolution is for all of your line work. Gradient resolution would be for any fill or hatch pattern that is using the gradient mode where you've got a variation in the color or intensity of the pattern. And then for raster imagery, if you've got aerial photos attached, you have a different parameter here, whether it's a color or grayscale image, or whether it's a binary or black and white image. You can set those independently, but again, for now, I'm going to leave those at the default of 400 dpi. The font handling option just instructs the driver whether or not to include the true type font files or the font files in the PDF file. I usually just say capture some, which will just capture the ones that are being used in this to generate this PDF file. And what that allows is you send this file to somebody. If they don't have those fonts installed on their computer, they will still be able to see them. All right. If I want a smaller PDF, I can say, well, don't capture any of them, but then you run into the problem that somebody may not have some of the font files that you've used to generate this PDF, so they're not going to display correctly. So default capture some. With capture some, you can edit this list here, and you can pick and choose which ones to include. All right, and really it's going to be a file size issue, and I have not seen any really significant impact on my overall file size with that one, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it at capture some. Bottom of the dialog is where we have our option here to include the layer information. I'm going to leave that turned on. It's very powerful. I like being able to manipulate layers in the PDF file. I can actually change what I plot from the PDF, and then also again with the PDF underlay, later on when we reference a PDF file, we can manipulate layers that we've attached. And then I'll go ahead and leave on open up the PDF viewer because I'm going to want to show you what we generate when we plot here. So go ahead and pick OK to that. We'll pick OK. I did modify it, so I am going to change my PC3 file. And it looks like everything is set for what I want, so I'll go ahead and pick OK and generate a plot. And that name is fine for now. And there's my plot file. So pretty quick little driver here. I've got it preset so my layer tab is showing up in my Adobe Reader. Let me scroll this over a little bit so we can see what's going on. From best I can tell, it is sorting the layer names based on object creation order. So the last thing I created in this drawing was this E01 surface, which created this layer. So that was actually the last object I created. So as it generates the PDF, it's adding the layers as it encounters them. So it'd be nice if I could have it sort based alphabetically or whatever, so you kind of have to go through and kind of hunt and figure out what's going on. But since that one's top, that's going to be all my existing contours in my drawing. I can actually click on the eyeball here, and I can turn that off. Okay, so maybe I want to turn off my planimetric layers. All right, so I can turn those off. So you can see very powerful, and what you manipulate here, if I was to print this right now, that is what I'm going to see in my print. Okay. So pretty neat tools. You know, I can come in, I can turn off my title blocks. Okay, so we can just kind of see everything that's involved with this. So I can clean it down, and I can now plot this and show just what I want to see on that PDF. So real neat tool. We'll look at the layers a little bit later when I do the underlay as well. Okay, so that was the plot command, plotting the driver. Pretty straightforward. Let's try now, make sure I'm in the AutoCAD here. I'm going to try publish. And I'm not sure how I've got my publish set up here. Oh, it's adding stuff I don't want. So let me remove that. And I got a couple files open here. So I want just my 4 layouts that are in this drawing. So I've got my overall plan, and then I've got 3 plan and profile sheets. And what I'll do is I'll select all those, and I'm going to tell them to use my page setup called PDF, so I know they're all using the same PC3 file and configuration. All right. Under Publish Options, there's really not a whole lot here to control any of my PDF functionality. This is all going to control DWF and where the plot file is going. Other than that, there's nothing there that I'm going to change for the PDFs. But let me go ahead and make sure everything's good. I don't want to do background. And we'll publish that. And bear with me as it processes through here. Got four sheets. Hopefully they go pretty quick here. All right, it's done plotting. So now we see it looks like my first sheet is displayed as it was, but now let me minimize layers here and let me expand pages, and we'll see that I did generate a multi-sheet PDF file here using that driver. So real nice, quick, clean way of generating these multi-sheet PDFs. My layers are still available as well, and I can actually turn off layers. And you got to watch because this applies to all my sheets. So if I turn off that tin surface layer here, you'll see my existing contours went away. Well, if I switch to another sheet, back to my first sheet, you will see that that is turned off in that one as well. So the layer information is not individual to each sheet in the PDF file. It applies to the whole PDF file. So I can come back in here and turn that layer back on, and my existing contours will now display. All right, so let me go back to those sheets, and we'll see again my existing contours are back on in this sheet as well. So real nice way to generate a deliverable set or something that you want to send to somebody that they can then plot, or maybe they don't want to see some of the line work. They can turn that off and plot it that way. All right, let me shut that off, jump back to the PowerPoint. All right, and now we're going to look at what I feel is probably the best part of this extension is a command called PDF attach, which allows you to overlay or attach a PDF file just like you would a DWF or a raster image. All right, it actually lets you bring it in as an underlay. In the external reference dialog, you will also see a PDF or attached PDF option in that dialog as well. And again, this is only going to be while you're using that Civil 3D version of the program. So that's going to be the first command we'll look at, is the PDF attach. All right, so there's a sample of what we'll see with that PDF file attached to our drawing. Looks kind of like attaching a raster. We do have a command called PDF layers, which lets me manipulate the layers just like I was doing in the Adobe Viewer. You can clip a PDF to only show the portion that you're interested in on your drawing. We can turn off the frame just like you can turn off the image frame using the PDF frame command. We can adjust the PDF file, and there's two ways to do that. You either use the command called PDF adjust, which will prompt you everything on the command line, or using the properties dialog, we'll see that we get these, hit my mouse button there we go. We get these options to modify the contrast. We can fade back the PDF file. If it's a color image, we can change it to monochrome. And then we can also adjust colors for background. And what that'll do is, what we'll see is, instead of displaying as a white piece of paper with black line work, it will display black with white because that's my background color. All right. We'll also see there's an option for PDF object snap, which will actually allow you to snap to endpoint, midpoint, intersection of PDF line work. And what you'll see in the example I have on my screen is the tooltip for that will tell you that it is an approximate endpoint, because you do lose some fidelity when you plot to a PDF file. It's not going to be the same resolution or the same level of precision as a drawing file. So they do kind of have a little legalese on here and use the word approximate. All right. Well, let me demonstrate this functionality here. So let me jump back over to my AutoCAD, and I'm going to switch to a different drawing. And I have a drawing here with just the vector mapping line work for our site. What I'm going to do is attach one of the PDFs that was just generated so we can see maybe some of the contour or utility information that goes along with this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert it adjacent, and then we're going to use the object snap capabilities to move it over and line it up with my geometry. And I'm going to go ahead and do this through the XREF dialog box as well here. So we have on our XREF tool space here, there is an option in Civil 3D now to attach a PDF. All right, and it opens up in my drawing folder, and I want that one there. So that's got all 4 of my layouts in it, so I can grab a multi-sheet PDF, and it does tend to get a little slower if you've got one sheet versus 100 sheets. And I've played with a lot of different files here. I've actually been able to attach maps out of technical reports or drainage studies that were all converted to PDF. I can actually go in and pick a specific sheet and underlay that, but just realize that there is some performance issues with the large PDF documents. So let me go ahead and open that up. And you're going to get a dialog very similar to the XREF dialog. A couple things we have to change here is I have to tell it which sheet do I want to overlay. It'd be nice if I had a preview here, but I know I want sheet 1. That's my overall plan. Just like in XREF, I can specify how to save the path. All right, I'm going to go ahead and keep full path turned on. And my insertion point, I will specify on screen. The scale you have to know, and I know that drawing was done at 40 scale. All right, so your PDFs are typically paper units, so it was a 22 by 34 sheet, but the viewport was at 40 scale, so I need to scale it up by 40. And then rotation, we'll go ahead and leave that turned off, and I'll leave the rotation as 0. So let me go ahead and pick OK, and it'll ask me to insert that, and we'll just plop it in right there. So you can see that scale-wise, I did get the correct scale at 40 scale. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use some of the object snaps functionality to line it up with the rest of my site. So let me do the PDF OSnap command. And the options is either going to be 1 or 0. 1 is on, 0 is off. So I'll go ahead and enter 1 just to make sure. And then I'll use the move command. And I'm going to grab the frame. And then for my OSnap here, I'm going to do an endpoint OSnap. And what you'll see, as I hover on that, it's going to say, hey, I'm snapping to the PDF. It's an approximate endpoint object snap, so I'll grab that corner there, and then we'll come over to our site, and we'll go to the endpoint right there. Okay, so I can now place that on top of my model so we see that lines up, and maybe I want to use draw order here, and find that, and we'll send it to the back. Okay, so I can see my vector line work on top. All right, so we have our vector data and also our PDF data. I can modify some of the layers. Maybe I don't want to see my title block when I plot this one, so I'm going to use the PDF layer. Actually, it's PDF layers plural because I have more than one layer in here. So PDF layers, again, I need to select the frame, and it will then bring up this dialog here where I can go in and turn off layers. So what I'm going to do is just scroll down here and turn off all of my title block layers. I'll hit apply, and it will turn those off. And I've got a few more down at the bottom with the text on it. All right, so we'll pick OK to that, so I can turn off all my title block information. Okay, unfortunately, the way we set up our standard title blocks, that preliminary stamp is on layer 0, and I'm not sure I want to turn off layer 0 in the PDF because 1 or 2 of my XREFs may accidentally be on that layer, and I would turn those off as well. So what I can do to eliminate that information is I'm going to use the PDF clip. So PDF CLIP, and again I will pick my frame, and then the options I get are on, off, delete, or new boundaries. So I'm going to make a new boundary, and my options there are either polygonal or rectangular. So I'm going to enter P for polygonal, and then our polygonal, or however you want to say that, and I'm just going to draw a quick boundary around the perimeter of my site, and we'll call that good enough. Hit return, and it will now clip it down to where it's only going to show that portion of my PDF file. Last step I could do here is maybe turn off the frame, but maybe I want to adjust the image first. I need the frame to be able to pick it, so I don't want to turn that off yet. So let's look at either PDF adjust. Go ahead and type that in, PDF ADJUST. Select my image or my frame, and you'll see this one is all done via command line. So I can fade the image, I can change the image contrast, and then if it's a monochrome, I can change it. Change the background display, but I prefer doing this actually through properties here. So let me right click on it and go into the properties window, and we'll go ahead and move that off to the side a little bit. So I've got my underlay selected, And then we'll see we've got these options right here for underlay adjustment. I can change the contrast, and really this is going to affect more when you're dealing with images with color or shading or raster data. But maybe I want to fade it back. So I can say right now fade is at 0, but let me set it to maybe 50%. And what you'll see then is as I change that, the image becomes much lighter. Okay, it's messing with my draw order right now. Hopefully you can still see that through the GoToWebinar, but we can tone it down. I think I go up to about 80% fade here to where you'll hardly be able to see it at all. And then we'll go ahead and set that back to 0 fading, and then we get the full intensity of that image again. Okay, the monochrome option, yes or no, that just says if it's a color image, I can display it as monochrome. So the default is no. So if you had a color image, it will display as a color image, and then adjust for background. Let me go ahead and turn that off, and what we'll see is if I say adjust it for background, it can't display my image because it's got the wrong color. So it's actually showing the line work as black because that's what it is in the PDF. Well, that doesn't make sense. So I'll say, yeah, I've got black background. I want to see the line work adjusted, so it will adjust that. So more likely you're always going to want to leave that turned to yes. Again, unless you're dealing with color PDF files, you would want to possibly leave that to no, so it will display as it does in the original PDF file. All right, so I've got it. Maybe a last step here before I plot is I'm going to do PDF frame is the command. So oops, not enough F's, F-R-A-M-E, PDF frame, and I'm going to set that to 0, and that'll disable the frame. So now I have what in all rights could be just another XREF. Okay, so that's how we use all these options, how they work. You can attach multiple XREFs. We have had some folks in, I think, Colorado Springs were using this, and we did run into some problems with them not being able to plot. They kept running out of memory. I don't have it 100% resolved yet because I was able to bring their files here to this office, and they plot just fine from my computer. A couple of differences is that they did have PDF files attached to some of their XREF drawings, and we had some redundant XREFs. So I think for the time being, I think the suggestion I would make is you attach the PDF, you use it for plotting, you use it for digitizing, using the PDF snap or the OSNAP functionality with the PDF, and then you detach the PDF. I don't recommend leaving PDF files attached to your master drawings. If you need to see it in a sheet drawing, then connect it directly to that sheet drawing with the PDF attach command. All right, so that gets us about a half hour in, about where I thought I'd be. Real simple subject. So what I'm going to do is, if you have any questions, go ahead and pick on the little hand button next on your GoToWebinar panel. And if anyone raises their hand, I will unmute their microphone and let them ask a question here. Nobody. I explained it so well that you're all good and good and fine with that. I will point out, oh, thanks, John, I see you. I'll get to you in a sec, is one question that I have been asked in the past is, once I've attached it with Civil 3D, can I see the PDF when I open it up with my land desktop version of AutoCAD? And that answer is no. It does not have the right program information under the land desktop application. You won't even see any hint that there's a PDF attached, so it will be invisible if I were to open this drawing up with the land desktop. So John, let me see if I can unmute you here and ask away. All right, John does not have a microphone, so I'm not sure if he can ask. So you're going to have to type your question in, John, because we're not hearing you. All right, so I unmuted John. So John, if you type your question, we'll try to answer it from there. All right, there he goes. Okay, here's, oh, Rick's got a question from, there we go. We got a few questions. All right. John's question, how do you handle a PDF with a different scale view? So I'm assuming I've got a PDF that has multiple viewports. I think I would treat it kind of the same way I would do an XREF. I could attach it a second time and have it scaled at a different version. So let me do it through the XREF dialog here. I mean, try it in AutoCAD. A couple things I would do is pick my underlay and maybe rename it 40 scale, okay, because you can rename them. But then I can attach it again, and we'll grab the same one, open. I'll grab sheet 1, but this time instead of 40, maybe I want it to be a lot smaller, so maybe I'll just do 10 scale, assuming I've got different viewports here. Pick OK, and we'll go ahead and insert that. Okay, so I can do just like an XREF. I can attach the same PDF multiple times and just apply a different scale factor. And I typically do that by renaming one of them and then inserting it again and applying the other one. So hopefully that answers that question, John. And here I got a question from Rick here. When turning off the layers, is there a way to pick them so you don't have to search for the correct layer name? Unfortunately, there's not a layer off functionality in the PDFs like we're used to with our AutoCAD layer off where you select it. It's a single entity. I can't pick, I can pick it, it shows up, I grab the entity, but PDF layers, so let me go ahead and pick it here. But there's no way I can come in here and select, so you have to know which layers you're looking at and what you're turning off. So hopefully everybody's using Nolte standard layer names that we know. I want to turn off lip of gutter. Boom, there's lip of gutter, top of curb, wheelchair ramps, back of walk, and so on, that we can manipulate them that way. Obviously, when dealing with files from other consultants or outside of Nolte, and even some of our files with the 400 layers, that's going to be a bit cumbersome. But yeah, unfortunately, that is all that the technology affords us. All right, so here, you guys are coming up now. Oh, Rick's got a follow-up. We'll go ahead and address that. If the PDF was not created with Civil 3D, like if we received it from an architect, will it still have PDF OSNAP properties? The answer to that is yes. The only thing it probably won't have is the layer functionality. All right, so that's being able to generate it from Civil 3D using that PDF bonus pack. People with AutoCAD installations also got the same PDF bonus pack. It's just they did not make one for Land Desktop. So you can get drawings from people using AutoCAD or Civil 3D 2009. Those PDFs will have the potential to have layers. I can bring in a PDF that's 5 years old and still snap to the line work as long as there's vector geometry in it. So yes, we can do that. And then one more question here from Cynthia. Does it grab all layers or just the ones that are on and thawed? From what I have seen, when it generates the layers, it is only grabbing layers that are used by objects that are in the PDF file. All right, so if you've got 100 unused layers, they should not show up. And I haven't tested that 100% yet, but that appears to be what's going on. So if I come in and let me look at my layers again for this this image here, I know for a fact I have a lot of Civil 3D layers in this drawing for cross sections, for pipes, and all of that. And I noticed that the only ones that are showing up are the ones that I'm actually using in this drawing file or in this project with my alignments, my surfaces. So I didn't get the 30 or 40 other Civil 3D layers. So I'm pretty confident to say that it is only saving the layers in the PDF that are used by objects within that PDF. All right, great questions. Any other questions? I see Michael's hand raised. Michael, I'm having problems with the audio, so if you could type your question in, that seems to be working real well for the others here. And we'll give him a chance to type that in. we go. Oh, another one's from Jill. I can't read the name on here. Heinrichsen, Jill Heinrichsen. There it is. Okay, I demonstrated creating a multi-sheet PDF. If you have multiple tabs in the same drawing, can you create a multi-sheet PDF from multiple drawings? Hang on a sec. Let me read it first before I read it out loud. Oh, can I create a multi-sheet PDF from multiple drawings? I'm pretty sure the answer is yes. And what we did is let me cancel out of here. Let me go back into the publish command here. Since I didn't save my sheets, what we'll do is I've got this one here. Let me get rid of that. And we'll get rid of that one here. I'm not sure how well this will work, but we will try. See, it's like I need to make, hang on a sec. I need a layout of this one. Okay. All right, so let me try publish again. I need layouts because I can't apply a non-layout style. So let me get rid of the two model options here, select all those, and use my default, and we'll hit publish. Okay. I told it to save and it couldn't save. So this should be able to take, again, layouts from multiple drawings here, and it will put all those into a single PDF file for us. All right. Michael Poole's question, can we use drawings created in Land Desktop, open them with Civil 3D, and not have anything converted? Okay. Civil 3D, as far as I know, will not convert Land Desktop objects because there is no equivalent. I have to actually open it with Civil 3D and then tell it to convert Land Desktop data to Civil 3D data. So I'm pretty sure that shouldn't affect it, Michael. As a precaution, I would recommend the first time you try that. I have not tried that, but make a backup of it initially. Okay, so here we are back to the multi-drawing, multi-layout. I was able, using the publish command, these first three sheets are from my first drawing, and then I've got this second sheet here that came from my other drawing, and actually lets you have an opportunity to see how PDFs, underlays, plot back to PDF. Okay, so we can do a fairly redundant PDF plotting here. All right. Okay. Any other questions? I didn't see anyone else raising your hands, so hopefully you've all taken a chance to type it in. But we're at about 40 minutes, which is about the length that I'd like to keep this demonstration today. I do have the record option going here, so for anyone who missed this or anyone in your office that'd like to see this, this will be available through the CAD support page in the archive. And of course, people are throwing in a few questions at the last minute. Okay. Here, I got a question from Cynthia. When you reference a multi-sheet PDF, can you pull in all the layouts separately? I would have to attach each one separately to answer that question, Cynthia. So let me switch to. So I brought in come on, switch to model. Oh, please don't crash on me. There we go. I brought in just sheet one, but if I do the PDF attach here and, oops, let me do it through the dialog. Again, I got file DIA turned off on mine, so let me attach here. If I come in, grab the same one, I can now say, well, I want sheet 3, which is going to be one of my plan and profile sheets. I think that one's at 20 scale if I remember right, and we'll go ahead and pick OK to that. And we'll just pop that off to the side here. So I can go through and reference each sheet from that PDF file, but I have to attach them one at a time. So I can grab multiple ones. All right, and so here, another question here, can we append to an existing PDF with Acroplot? No, the only options are overwrite or new. So this will not write to an existing PDF file as far as I can tell. So we still would then need to use Acroplot, or you're going to need the Adobe program to do that. It will overwrite an existing PDF file. It will not append. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to put an end to questions here. I think those are some great questions. If you have any more or anything comes up later on, feel free to email me. I do get a distribution list from this presentation of everybody who attended today, so I will email you if there are some good questions that come up that I did not get a chance to answer today. There's a real quick survey when you exit on how did we do on these two topics. Please fill it out. I appreciate your feedback, and I appreciate your time this afternoon to sit through this presentation. Thank you.